My beautiful people, in today's video it's going to be a little bit confusing because it was also confusing on my side, but I'm going to try to reply to the person who came to me with this question. And the person said, "Hey Hajara, please, can you explain the basics of asylum, the difference between asylum and refugees, and the legal definition?" Wow, this is something that is deep because many of us move from our home countries to another country seeking for asylum. Many of us say we come for greener pastures, many say economic reasons, many say political reasons, depending on your story, depending on what happened in your life. So I'm going to break it through detail by detail. We are going to go slow so that the person can understand the difference between asylum seekers and refugees, and if there are also definitions I can explain. So I'm going to break it depending on the international level, maybe depending on the USA laws, the German laws, so we can understand, because every country has its own legal system depending asylum seekers or refugees. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever sat down and asked yourself, what is asylum? You as an asylum seeker, do you know what it means? So asylum is a form of international protection granted to individuals who have fled their home country because they fear persecution due to specific protected grounds. It allows them to remain in the host country legally and avoid being returned to danger. So, if you're in fear of persecution from your home country, then you're entitled to go and seek asylum in the country where you think you will be safe. So, this is when you're in fear of danger. So, I said fear of persecution. What does persecution mean? Persecution means fear of threat to your life. So, if your life includes threatening, someone threatens you, someone tortures you, does unjust imprisonment or severe discrimination, you are entitled to flee your home country and go to another country to seek for asylum, because this is something dangerous. If for example, you're imprisoned unlawfully, then it is really against the human rules. So, in summary, asylum, what is asylum? Asylum equals to protection granted to people who meet the refugee definition and apply from within or at the border of the host country. Refugee, it's a status. So the moment you apply for asylum, okay, this is why I said asylum is the protection granted to the people who meet the refugee definition and apply within or at the border of the host country. And then as refugee, it is a status. A refugee, it's a given status. It's given to someone who has been officially recognized as needing protection outside the country they flee. So, refugee, this is when you're officially being recognized that you need protection. That means it's a status that they give to someone who needs protection. And then asylum seeker, this is someone who claims to be a refugee and is waiting for the claim to be evaluated. I repeat, asylum seeker specifically an asylum seeker is a person, like if I come to Germany, I'm responsible to claim asylum, and once they agree to my asylum claim, they give me a status of being a refugee, okay, because I'm in need of protection outside the country that I flee from. So, asylum seeker is someone who claims to be a refugee and is waiting for the claim to be evaluated. So, let me take you back and I discuss with you a refugee, okay, so that we can understand more of a refugee. A refugee is a person who is unable or unwilling to return to their home country of origin because of a well-founded fear of being prosecuted for reasons, for example, race, religion, nationality, membership in a particular social group, for example, if you're gay, a lesbian, transgender, specifically the LGBTs, we have the Boko Haram, we have all those groups. If you're in fear of being prosecuted unlawfully, then you are someone who is unable and willing to return to that country. So there are also people who have political opinions, like people who oppose the government. These people always face unlawful imprisonment. So asylum is the legal protection granted to such individual after they enter a country and apply for it. I don't know if we are moving together, but I think I'm breaking it piece by piece, because I said a refugee is someone who is unable or unwilling to return to their home country of origin because of a well-founded fear of being prosecuted for reasons like race, religion, nationality, membership in a particular social group, or political opinions. Okay, and A said that asylum seeker is someone who claims to be a refugee and is willing for the claim to be evaluated. And then asylum is the legal protection granted to such individuals after they enter a country and apply for it. So asylum under maybe the German immigration rules, that is the BAMF, or the US Immigration and Nationality Act. For example, in the United States, the legal definition of a refugee is codified in the Immigration and Nationality Act. Here in Germany, if you seek asylum and they grant it to you, you become a refugee. Okay, so to be granted asylum in the US or German, a person must be physically be presentable, or to be present in the US or at the borders of the US or at the borders of the German country or at the airport of the German country. So you have to appear physically. You do not ask asylum through third parties. You ask asylum when you're present. Asking asylum through third parties, it depends on the particular situations you're in. Maybe you're in an hospital and you're terribly injured, then you can get a lawyer to help you apply for asylum. This shows you have to show a well-founded fear of prosecution for one of the 5 protected grounds. What I said: race, religion, nationality, membership in particular social groups, and political opinions. You also have to apply asylum within 1 year of arrival. If you arrive in a country, you have to apply asylum within 1 year, with exceptions for charged or extraordinary circumstances. So basically, those are the key things that you need to know between asylum seeker, and a refugee. So the terms of asylum is when you're an asylum seeker, you already have to be inside the country host, and a refugee outside the country host. For example, camps, blah blah blah. So Thank you for watching with me. I hope I answered your question very well. Thank you.